Good day, sir. I'm Engine Cadet Limbaga Bryan Ken, together with Jake John Lloyd Papas, Carl John Cocamas, Austin Gleve, Alcano, Jotam Cabañero, Danilo Losorata, and Wendy Cuevas. And we are the Group 2. Our assigned topic is all about the global city. First reporter is Wendy Cuevas.
Good day, sir. I'm Carlian Cocamas. My topic is Global City. Global City, an urban century that enjoys significant competitive advantage and that serve as a hub within a globalized economic system. The term has its origins in research on cities carried out during the 1980s, which examined the common characteristics of the world's most important cities. So, I have an example. Paris is a quintessential global city. It means deserve good nimo na makavisits sa lahang place because of tungod sa lahang high quality, ilahang mga goods, ilang mga kanunon. It has been one of the world's most visited place for centuries. There's so many nangadto dito, mga mostly mga taga di laing lugar ba. So most of people mo agto dito can take pictures sa lang tower, their tourist spot, and its economy prospers today thanks to a well educated workforce. It means successful sa ilang economy kay tungod sa ilang tourist spot daghay mo adto importante kayo ang pare sa mga tao and their workers. Modern infrastructure and global niches, and it's also kanang target ang pare sa mga tao gid because sa ilang tourist spot. It means ganahan sila mo visit in creative industries, business, service, and tourism. So, nganong matawag man siya nga global city? How do you know if it's a global city? A global city needs a lot of capital. It means most important city like Paris. And here in Cebu, kung ang important ang dagay mo adto tagabi is sa IT park and to earn money. Information on trade, it means kanang need ka og supplier para makasell og goods para padayon nimo ang business and multinational company like sa mga Jollibee. 24 hours sila mag open sa mga city, mostly sa IT park na ay Jollibee there, and sa mga call center 24 hours sila mag-work. The size of a city does not determine a city to be considered as global. Rather, its infrastructure and workforce. So that's all.
Good day everyone, I'm Jhun Cadet Cuevas. I'm here to discuss my topic about the meaning of global city. So what is the meaning of global city? The global city, an urban center that enjoys significant competitive advantages and that serve as a hub within a globalized economic system. The term has its origins in research on cities carried out during the 1980s, which examined the common characteristic of the world's most important cities. So, global city is a product of global economy, and we can also say that global city is a powerful city, world city, alpha city, or world center city, which is primary nodes in the global economic network. Global cities are strategic sites that manage and guide the global economy. Many of these cities were already centers for international trade and banking, or as simple terms, global city is a highly developed city and lots of investors and other world's global city is a capital of less developed cities. So global cities such as New York, London, Tokyo, these are the cities lots of investors and wealth that plus facilitates financial institutions, financial firms, accounting firms, and law firms and media organizations. So, um, like for other examples of global cities, San Francisco, because this city is an internet home and most powerful internet companies like Twitter, Facebook, and Google. It is one of the pieces that we can see a global city. Global city is just as the great industrial cities grow through the industrial era. Global cities are the product of global economy. The global city, for instance, the cost of living is better than other cities, and there are number of billionaires, and it is a wealth city, power and influence to other countries as well as host the largest capital markets. The global city in the world is the most important and influential city that covers the dimensions of the globalizations, such as business activities, cultural experiences, human capital, as well as political engagement. Global city should have combinations of powerful, strong, and unique culture, style, and history, and also it is urban center that enjoys significant competitive advantages and that serves as a hub within a globalized economic system. And about the culture is one of important business in a city that provides many tourist attractions. Therefore, a global city is a highly developed city, world center economy, powerful city, alpha city, strong and unique culture style, primary global economic networks, lots of investors, and global city is a product of global economy. So that's all, and thank you.
Good day, sir. I'm Engine Cadet Limbaga Bryan Ken, and my assigned topic is all about what are the characteristics of global city. And is the characteristic of global city: home to major stock exchange and indexes, influential in international political affairs, home to world-renowned cultural institutions, service a major media hub, large mass transit networks, home to a large international airport, having a prominent skyline. So, first is home to major stock exchange and indexes. Due to the global market, countries can now import and export their abundant raw materials, local products, and lucrative services to other nations or regions, which it can be used as a hub to buy what essential necessities. Best example to this is how the US buy the Philippines raw materials like tobacco to make cigars and export them as the products to sell it internationally. Next is influential in international political affairs. When it comes to the influential political affairs, political power in globalization refers to the country's decisions that that provides provides itself on the classification of classes, including the powerhouse countries or known as the first world countries, second world countries, and third world countries, or the global north and global south. The countries are classified based on their military power, economic importance, and geographic location. Now, let's talk about international airport. Having an international airport within a country is an avenue for worldwide and progressive tourism, which tourists from various races visit our different tourist spots. It is somehow the pathway which within the cultural wealth of certain countries, and if these interested parties visited our tourist spot, then it only means economic growth. Furthermore, currency exchange plays as a big part on this growth. Next is large mass transit network. This development expands throughout a large mass transit networks in which it relates to how fast we spread information, especially global news and social issues such as Russia-Ukraine war and the confidential climate change. Through social media platform, we become aware and aware and be active in providing short and long-term solutions. It means that technology could cater the needs and aid the innocence of the citizens. It also proves that technological access evolves to cater our increasing lifestyle better, like for example during old times. We had hard time searching for records since most of them were printed and are in hard copies. Not unlike today that we have digital and soft copies where we can just easily search the records that we need. Service major media hub. Media is more on spreading information in which it also used in globalization to inform, re-educate, and to reconnect with other countries. Like example, we have news for international situations. We also have out movies or teleseries with Western reference, and also the power of information that can sway the truths of people through the power of influence. That's all, sir.
Good day everyone, I am Engine Cadet Lloyd Papas. I'm here to continue the discussion about what are the characteristics of global city. So there are 7 characteristics in the list, and the first 5 is already discussed, so I'm here to discuss the 6 and 7. So let's continue. Home to a large international airport. In my research, home to a large international airport is an airport with custom and border control facilities enable enable passengers to travel between countries, and the passenger can fly abroad through direct or connecting flights. The international airport can also be used domestic flights apart from the international. These these terminals are two different terminal as domestic and international terminals. So what classifies an airport as an international airport. International airport can have different features depending on the country. However, some of these standards are defined by a vision standard. It is mandatory to include customs, security checkpoints, and international terminal with, within these airports. Different from other airports, international airport have duty free shop, lounge section, waiting area, airline company's office, BB car room, prayer rooms, and tourism office. And international airports are generally larger than the airports only with domestic terminals. And the last is having a prominent skyline. Skyline is important in global city because pers- pers- being perceived from a distance. The skyline indicates the size and economic importance of the city. It division it division into residential, commercial, and businesses district and the cultural inheritance of its architecture. The skyline has historically been a symbol for power, wealth, and prosperity. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Engine Cadet Losorata Jr. Danilo A. So my assigned topic is all about what are the examples of global city. Early research on global cities concentrated on key urban centers such as London, New York City, and Tokyo. With time, however, research has been completed on emerging global cities outside of this triad, such as Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Houston, Los Angeles, Mexico City, Paris, Sao Paulo, Sydney, and Zurich. So, let's have a quick glance scores for the top 10 cities. There's a fairly wide gap between the three global cities, with number 1, New York at 6.22. Number 2, London at at 5.86. And number 3, Tokyo at 5.42. The gap between the fourth and the fifth spots is even larger with Paris 5.35, outscoring Hong Kong 4.14 and Chicago is 3.94 by more than 29%. In 7th place, at 3.90, Los Angeles nearly ties Chicago and comes in at large 13% higher than Singapore, 3.45. Sydney is 3.44 and the Seoul is 3.40 in spots 8 through 10. The US takes up most spot on the list with a total of 7 top global cities. Ranking from Houston, Texas is 38 with a score of 2.2 to New York City, number 1 with a score of 6.22. So the overall global city and ranking are based on weighted composite value of 5 dimensions of globalization: business activity 30%, human capital 30%, information exchange 15%, cultural experience 15%, and political engagement 10%. Each of the five dimensions is comprised of 4 to 6 submeasures for a total of 25 individual measures of globalization. Additionally, for further details, the percentage of the scoring of the ranking just to provide relevancy, the example of global cities. First is business activity, 30%. Business activity scored at and ranked on the basis of 5 factors: number of international conference, flow of goods and port, capital markets of companies among the top 40 global service field firms, and 40 of Fortune Global 500 companies with headquartered in the city. And the second is human capital, 30%. Human capital measures how well the city acts as a magnet of diverse groups of people and talent. Human capital score and rank on the basis of 5-factor size city of foreign born population, quality of its universities, number of international schools, international student population, and percentage of residents with university degrees. And the third is information exchange, 15%. The ability to access the right of information and the right time can have big implication of the success of business deals, political negotiation, and cultural collaboration. In the Global Cities Index, information exchange is scored and ranked on the basis of 4 factors: number of international news bureaus, level of censorship, amount of international news in the leading local papers, and broadband subscriber rate. And the fourth is cultural experience, 15%. Cultural experience score and rank on the basis of 6 factors. First is museum, visual and performing arts, major sports events a city host, international travelers, diverse culinary establishment, and sister city relationships. And lastly, the political engagement with 10%. Political engagement score and rank on the basis of 5 factors: international organization, embassies and consulate, things, tank, think tanks, political conference, and local institution with international reach. In conclusion, with in conclusion, the weight assigned to each of the 5 globalization dimensions have a large impact of the overall globalization scores and ranking. And global cities engines are archives of growth, change, culture, and ideas. They are great place where much of the world goes to live, learn, work, and create, just like in the example of global cities.
Good day everyone, I am Engine Cadet Cabañero Jotam, and today I am going to continue the discussion of examples of a global city. So, it has been argued that the global cities are those sharing and following characteristics. So, in other parts of the world, cities which attract large foreign businesses and related expatriate communications. For examples, of global cities are Singapore, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Tokyo, and Moscow. So A global city is considered when a city has a wealthy multinational companies, good infrastructures, better economy, well educated, uh, and diverse population, and powerful organizations, as well as good political structures that are linked to the other parts of the world, like nowhere else is considered to be global. So, as of the 2020, the most recent rankings include 151 cities across all continents. Compared in the year 2019, there are only 130 global cities. So, reflecting so the increasing importance of the emerging geographies such as the Middle East, China, and in the Central Asia. So I am going to give to you or tackle uh, one of the best example of a global city. So I choose the city of Tokyo from Japan. So I choose this because, as we all know, that the city of Tokyo in Japan is the what is one of the most successful city. So and it is ranked number three in all the global cities. So the Tokyo metropolitan area is the largest world city region globally. So uh, the location where many of Japan's advanced functions are centralized. The city of Japan, or the city of Tokyo in Japan, is very competitive in terms of power and new cultural industries. Uh, it has been demonstrated in the recent years. So Japan uh, is one of the most important city for more than 400 years. It rose to the global city status after the World War II due to remarkable recovery from near complete destructions by Allied firebombing. So Japan is one of the most best example of a global city for me. So that's all, and thank you.
Good day, sir. This is Cadet Alcano reporting about what are the challenges of global cities with COVID-19. Coronavirus is a worldwide test that requests analysts, strategy creators, and state address various aspects which go a long ways past the ramification of this pandemic for well-being and prosperity. Similarly, as the UN Sustainable Development Goals calls for center around the associations between advancement strategy area. The pandemic has uncovered the complex worldwide interdependencies that support economies and featured separation points in cultural constructions that propagate ethnic, financial, social, and orientation imbalances. Here, we feature the pandemic's arising expected ramifications for accomplishing economical advancement regarding the 6 worldwide test regions. We all in all location at the UK Research and Innovations Global Challenges research found One Food frameworks, training, urban communities, and supportable foundation, security, extended struggle, evacuee, emergencies, and constrained dislodging, natural versatility, and worldwide well-being. As the prompt well-being results of the pandemic unfurled the start to be supplanted by the effect of general well-being regulation measures. We require a pulling together of exploration and activity, not exclusively to alleviate the effects, yet to incorporate supportability and fortified versatility into future recuperations. COVID-19 brings a short-term climate dividend, which benefits including cleaner urban air, but a post-pandemic economic recession could divert attention from the underlying climate crisis. Renewal packages might miss opportunities for restructuring towards greener technologies. Many countries are planning big investments in fossil fuel industries. In Europe and the USA, governments have agreed financial aid to the aviation sector with no binding environmental conditions. Equally, countries already at risk from humanitarian crisis and natural disasters could face a threefold greater risk of exposure to COVID-19 while having 6 times less access to healthcare than the countries at lowest risk. Simultaneously, the pandemic elevates the likelihood of compound disaster events, especially for the nearly 1 billion people exposed to flooding. June is the start of the hurricane season in the Caribbean and the monsoon in South Asia. Summer heat in global America and Europe will also disproportionately affect the elderly and those with underlying health conditions. Health, social, and humanitarian sectors will be stretched to cope the overlapping events, especially under the global pandemic recessions.
Hello everyone, I'm Engine Cadet Rodas and I am a Group 2 member, and this is my topic. What are the challenges of global cities with COVID-19? COVID-19 is a global challenge that demands researchers, policymakers, and government address multiple dimensions which go far beyond the implications of this pandemic for health and well-being. Just as the UN Sustainable Development Goals call for focus on the connections between development policy sectors, the pandemic has exposed the complex global interdependencies that underpin economies and highlighted fault lines in societal structures that perpetuate ethnic, economic, social, and gender inequalities. So COVID-19 affect how we live and how we feel. Disparate population impacts of COVID-19 pandemic can be observed around the world. Impacts on densely populated urban communities already subject social inequalities and disparities in health. Even though signs of recoveries are being observed in the US by 2021, the impact of pandemic still create opportunities for exploring the causes of disparities in incidence and efforts to enhance the resiliency of urban cities. So, because of COVID-19 pandemic, many development challenges have emerged that show the inequalities in terms of funding, resources, social, and gender that many countries have struggled to deal with. So, this is due to the fact that the global north and the global south have an unequal share of resources present to them at their disposal. The global north mostly has the updated technology, financial capacity, and workforce to power through the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, the global south lack the technology, financial capacity, and workforce to continue their development programs and fight the virus during the COVID-19 pandemic. Uh, for example, the research on COVID-19 vaccines and the availability of these vaccines show the economic and social inequalities between first world and developing nations. The first world countries had immediate access to these vaccines as they were the one who pioneered the study and research on the vaccines as well, while developing nations had to wait and in the line and order a limited amount of vaccines to cater to the health needs of the people. Because of these prioritizations has emerged and a lot of people with COVID-19 from developing countries struggled with recovery. Thank you, that's all.